and welcome to this special conversation with Prabhjeet Singh, who is the president of Uber India and South Asia. Now, Uber in India has crossed a significant milestone with more than 1 million drivers now registered on its platform, making India only the third country in the world for Uber to do so after Brazil and the US. The company has also just announced its India Economic Report, which has quite a few interesting findings. So without any further ado, let me welcome Mr. Singh. Thank you very much for speaking to CNBC-TV18 here. Let me start with that India Economic Report. And you talk about 3,600 crores in economic activity from your two-wheeler and three-wheeler, Uber Auto and Moto. You talk about 13,600 crores of economic footprint supported by Uber. Just tell us what exactly this means, the big highlights from this report.
Look, we have just finished 10 years in this incredibly important market.
11 years now.
11th year going on, and we continue to feel very good about the progress we have made. One of the challenges we've always posed ourselves is to assess, as the Indian economy grows, how do we hold ourselves accountable that we are actually contributing in a measurable way to the economic growth of the country. And so this economic report, which has been done by an independent party, Public First, actually goes and assesses what is the economic impact which ride-hailing services from Uber has had. So, for example, when it comes to categories like auto and moto, which are one of the fastest growing categories for the business, the socio-economic impact unlocked is to the tune of 36,000 crores, not 3,600 crores.
Okay.
And the quantum there is really a function of how we are driving better utilization of assets, creating an earning opportunity for earners, where earners who are actually on ride-hailing platforms like Uber are able to then earn as much as 60% higher in some cases than other alternative options. Second is the economic value, which they are hence then putting back into the economy as they drive, for example, whether it be maintenance services of the vehicle, etc. And then it also looks at the consumer side. As consumers embrace digital-enabled ride-hailing services, they are able to then save time. They're able to actually achieve more economic outcome from their own personal time, which is saved. That coming together is something which the independent company has actually shared with us, and we are thrilled to share that with all of you today.
At what pace is the ride-hailing market in India growing?
It is indeed an exciting time for the ride-hailing industry. The industry went through a pretty tough time during the pandemic, but now we're actually seeing growth which has been never seen before in the category. For example, each month we are attracting more new riders and more new drivers to the platform than ever before in our history, which is then leading to the wider industry in our portfolio growing anywhere from high 20s to mid 30s on a year-on-year basis, which I think is an incredible strong signal to the consumers embracing shared mobility and platforms being able to respond to unique consumer needs. So what Uber is doing is really focused on, in a obsessive manner, to make sure we continue to improve our consumer experience and provide choice. And some of the services you mentioned, whether it's Uber Black, which is targeted at consumers who are looking for a premium experience, willing to pay a little extra for that. That service has been launched in one city, hoping to bring it to more cities. Uber Pet, that's actually talking to a very specific use case, which many of our riders have spoken about. It also creates an extra earning opportunity for drivers. Categories like Uber Intercity, where you can actually take an Uber and go from Bangalore to Mysore and have the same convenience of affordability, safety, and convenience, which you are used to in an on-demand model. So the category is expanding in multiple dimensions, and we are proud of the role which we are playing in that.
So what does that mean, if you were to sum it up, in terms of how the ride-hailing market is expanding? At what pace for Uber?
The fact that we now have 1 million plus active earners on the platform who on a monthly basis are using the platform to earn a living. And that number is growing at a very, very rapid manner. The fact that we have consumers who are not just more consumers entering the platform. What we're actually seeing is consumers who are in the industry or are using Uber are actually increasing their usage on a monthly basis. So metrics which we measure are around total audience, which is growing at a very large pace, but also the engagement. And the fact that we're able to now offer multiple services ensures that consumers can actually stay within the Uber ecosystem in case they want to go from point A to point B and can access multiple services through the same experience.
You mentioned that 1 million drivers on the platform milestone that you've crossed. What about the users? At what pace is that growing for you? And what's the next big milestone now that you've achieved this one?
I think my team will tell you that I've always focused on the bigger picture and the vision than just focus on near-term milestones.
Not concerned about the bottom line so much.
No, not so. We are a very disciplined operators. We are building a business which is sustainable, which is ensuring that we are able to continue to invest in the new growth opportunities. Ride-hailing is a category which ensures that if you are able to run a disciplined operation, put your head down and execute on the right consumer experiences, there is strong economic output, as you have seen from our globally published quarterly results.
Yeah.
Coming back to India, I think what we are very much focused on is ensuring that at the end of the day, on the consumer side, more consumers are entering the category than ever before. For example, as we speak with consumers, many consumers are truly debating whether they want to purchase the first vehicle or push out a second vehicle purchase because options are available in the market.
Yeah.
Second is, as the macroeconomic trends, for example, as users go back to offices at a much larger number than what had happened right after the pandemic, as travel picks up on back of just a macroeconomic growth in the country, the emerging middle class, infrastructure creation, all of them actually have compounding effects for the ride-hailing industry. And we are seeing that play out. So what we are seeing, for example, early signals of this would show up also in commercial vehicle sales. Now, more drivers are actually purchasing a new vehicle than they did for the last 3 years. We are seeing more consumers entering the category, and those who are in the category are using multiple services. In fact, one of the new services we're very proud of is Uber Shuttle, where you can actually now get a bus, which is, I would argue, the most efficient way to actually get across the city. And those bus consumers are probably traveling 12, 15, 18 times a month. What
is the kind of investment you're looking to make into India? Maybe give us an outlook for the next 5 years as to how fast the market could grow.
We are very much obsessed about doubling down in the India market. It is one of the fastest growing markets in the portfolio, third largest already, and no reason why it can't be a top 2 market or the largest market at some point in the future. As the market grows and as the economy grows, infrastructure gets developed, and there's a wider space of digitization, we estimate that we should be able to continue and sustain this pace of growth. At the same time, we recognize we have to continue to focus on service quality, putting more vehicles on the road. India is and would remain a supply-constrained market. And our rate determining factor is going to be the ability to put new vehicles on the ground, or enabling and co-opting existing vehicles which are sitting idle and bringing them onto the network. So I think we feel very good about the paths we have for all of these, and we continue to double on. This is my personally 10th year at Uber. I won't be here putting my sweat and blood if I didn't believe that this could be transformative, not just for Uber as a global company, but also what we can do for our society here. In terms of your own market share, have you seen some hit because of the new entrants? We have always, not just in India, but across the world, operated in markets which are competitive. One thing we have learned consistently is that we operate best when we are competition aware, but not competition obsessed. And that's a mental model with which we are operating. For example, there are multiple players, many of them with different operating models, innovations which they're bringing to the market. We continue to learn from that in addition to playing to our strengths. What we're actually seeing is more players entering the market. A is a great signal that they're all seeing potential in the category. B, it actually helps accelerate digitization and bringing more consumers and earners to the platform. So for example, if you look at ONDC, the real vision of taking digital commerce to the masses, we believe that can actually then expand the pie for more users to come into the category, and then for platforms like us with a certain business model to participate in that. And that's what's going on in the market. We continue to see that our market position is the strongest it has been in our history in the market. We are market leaders, and we continue to focus on serving more earners and riders on a regular basis. We can't take our position for granted. We have to be on our toes and continue to execute with our nose to ground. Well, since you brought up ONDC, you signed this MOU with them earlier in February, to potentially look at an integration with the network. What is the status on that? We are very, very excited about the potential which ONDC offers. I think not just for digital platforms, but for the country as a whole. And because this is going to create a democratization of access to digital services across the board. We are in a very active dialogue and working in the background on multiple opportunities with ONDC.
All right.
We will share once we have more to share on what will we be bringing to the market.
Well, we've seen one of your peers look at the food delivery, sort of system with ONDC, that is Ola. Is Uber exploring something like that?
Well, I won't be able to comment on specific plans.
Okay.
Globally, we have a thriving mobility business and a thriving delivery business.
Yeah.
And we continue to believe that there is incredible value when you are able to offer multiple services to consumers on the same platform. Having said that, right now, we are very much focused on doubling down on our mobility business. We believe that there is so much to be done here. We believe focus helps. We believe disciplined execution helps.
Sure.
That's why you have seen our history in India has always been about sticking to what we are good at, sticking to the core, and that's what we are focused on.
How soon before you cover more cities, and how much of your fleet is going to be electrified, say, in the coming few years?
Ritu, this is a multi-year journey. I would argue one of big transformations which are still to play out fully, and India has an opportunity to leapfrog electrification. Having said that, you spoke about 1 million plus earners, getting a high percentage of them to actually embrace their next vehicle to be an EV is not a straightforward task. It is a team sport. We have a role to play. So does the government. So does the local policymakers at a state level. So do manufacturers who are actually putting vehicles on the road and charging infra providers. So we are trying to work with every stakeholder in the ecosystem to be able to further this agenda. We're taking very early steps. I think we are far away from our overall point of arrival. We now have Uber Green live in 4 cities already. The feedback from consumers and fleet partners has been incredibly positive. And we continue to work on plans to both scale them in those cities and also take them to more cities.
Are you looking at expansion in the near future, perhaps in Tier 2, Tier 3, and those other parts of India?
Look, we always believe that India is a multi-decadal opportunity for us. We have to stay the course. We have to go deep and go wide. Going wide is about really introducing the multiple portfolio of services. And going deep is to be able to serve consumers where they are. We started as a urban-centric, metro-first operations. That's the reality for the ride-hailing industry in the beginning. And we're now expanded to 125 cities. I think we have our task cut out that we need to work on all the 3 dimensions. Within the cities we operate in, including, for example, sitting in Bangalore, we need to go deeper. Today, in peak hours, finding a vehicle in Bangalore can be hard in certain pockets. Right? Which actually is a signal that we don't have the right number of vehicles available right now to fulfill the full demand. We need to continue to expand the services which are available to the existing consumers in the cities we serve. And then third is expand our city footprint. So I think it's a combination of all 3. We don't chase vanity metrics to say we are live in X number of cities. What's important, Ritu, in our business is that if we are operating in a city, can we serve the city in a credible way? Which means can we have enough liquidity of supply and demand so that the marketplace throughput can actually ensure that the service quality is able to achieve its purpose. I think we are getting there, and we'll continue to expand. In fact, what I'm most excited also when you spoke about auto-moto, there's some cities which we are launching as auto-first or moto-first. 10 years back, I couldn't have imagined that because we were always a cars-based service. And this transformation in terms of localizing, I think is an incredible case study. There's few cities I will just straight away launch only with a 2-wheeler product now.
All right, Prabhjeet, hold your thoughts. We have a lot more to get through. But on that note, we will take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're back in just a moment.